Welcome back to Midco Sports Tonight. It's time to check in with Brian Shawn, who's with Jeff Culhane in our West Fargo studio, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Kelly. Joined by Jeff Culhane, the play-by-play voice for North Dakota State men's basketball and football on the radio side. Also hosts the Insiders on Bison 1660 from 11 to 1 daily, Monday through Friday. And Jeff, first of all, before we get into NDSU athletics and hoops, let's talk a little bit about your experience. You were actually in Philadelphia for the Vikings and Eagles game. You drove from Fort Wayne after you did the broadcast, 9 hours to go to Philly to meet some friends out there to watch the game. We've seen a lot of reaction from the fan base in Minnesota about the way they were treated by the Eagles fans. Take us through that. What did you see? What did you experience? And did you see anything that was what you would consider to be over the top?
By the way, a 9-hour drive sounded like a good idea beforehand, but about 6 hours in, it was, at that point, I thought maybe I should have taken a look at a flight somewhere around the Fort Wayne, Indiana area. But I tell you what, Brian, I had a great experience. Went out there. One of the things for me, I've been a Vikings fan my entire life. It's really the one area where my fandom is at its highest, at its peak. And so I've been to the '98 NFC title game. I was in New Orleans in 2009, and so I figured I got to make it. Never been to Philly, never seen an Eagles game out there, never been to the city. So I thought, let's line it up, let's get it going. The entire process of getting out there was almost, well, I can tell you, it was more fun than the football game. I'll be honest with you with that. But it was a great time. I truly had a great experience. I really did. I know that there were others out there that did not, and I saw the videos on social media Sunday night and Monday morning after the game. And so I think the question is, as a visiting fan going to a sporting event, where do you draw the line? When is enough enough? And I think, it's unfortunate that you deal with that, maybe not to that level in Philadelphia, but I think when you have certain items involved in a fan experience, some things are going to happen. There's a few bad apples in the bunch. I don't think that necessarily defines the entire Eagles fan base, but in this day and age of social media where things are out there and on video right away, you're going to see that stuff more often than not. So I did not see any of it. I truly had a great experience and had a great time.
And I guess, Jeff, there's some talk about should the NFL get involved? Do the Eagles and the franchise need to do more with security? Do they need to do more with trying to police these things outside the stadium to make it a safe environment? Because you even talk to some Eagles fans who will not take their children or families to the games because they're too worried about how the reactions are going to be. We see Philly fans fighting with themselves in the stadium. So I don't know how you do that, but does that need to get to that point?
I'll give you an example. The moment I felt most, I don't want to say threatened is the word, but the moment where I felt somewhat unsafe, as you're walking along the concourse at Lincoln Financial Field, it really turns into a bottleneck type of experience where there's too many people and there's not enough room. And everybody is sort of swept into this vacuum, and it's like you're on a conveyor belt, just moving with the crowd. And you're right, there's Vikings fans or visiting fans in that area. There were Eagles fans in that area. There are Eagles fans yelling at Eagles fans. Going after them. And we can't obviously say the things that were said on this show because we'd all get fired. So, it was the one time I think where I felt most out of control of my environment in that part before the game, getting to my seat, kind of swept into a vacuum of people in a bottleneck type of setting along the concourse. And so at that point, you certainly heard and felt the intensity going on amongst the fan base. But that's the question. I think the simple answer is this, is that as long as people continue to shell out the money that they do for playoff tickets and continue to pay that amount of money and continue to sell out stadiums and go to games knowing that they're going to deal with that type of an experience and know that's going to happen potentially to them, I don't think anything will change. I don't think the NFL wants to get involved, and I don't think the Eagles organization really wants to look at it because in a weird roundabout way, Philadelphia prides itself on that toughness, that blue-collar mentality. And it's unique. It's a little bit bizarre, but in a way, that's what's defined the Eagles and certainly their fan base for a long, long time. It's almost like a rite of passage.
Now, define irony. In 2 weeks, the Philadelphia fans will be flooding to Minneapolis. Is there a response? Do Minnesota fans, do Minnesota businesses, do Minnesota hotels, restaurants, and people in general have some sort of backlash against what they would perceive as some injustices when their fans came to Philadelphia?
Well, unless a business owner from the Twin Cities was there in Philadelphia and had something negative happen to them personally, I don't think you're going to see any business turn away Eagles fans or money Super Bowl week and Super Bowl weekend in the Twin Cities. I will say this. I do think there's a really good chance you could hear some booing going on in the direction of the Eagles, whether it's during starting lineups, whether it's if a great play happens. I think you could see some of that from the fan base in Minneapolis. Now, of course, it's not all going to be Vikings fans. It's a very corporate event. You're going to have more of a corporate feel to it, so it's not as if it's all purple and gold inside U.S. Bank Stadium for the Super Bowl. So I don't think the reaction will be an overwhelming one, but I think from time to time you will hear the pockets and the response of booing towards the Eagles at the Super Bowl from folks in the Twin Cities.
And slightly maybe an advantage for the Patriots, who, from all indications, are usually the most disliked team in the NFL, but they actually may be the fan favorite in this game.
That's something you wouldn't expect to hear with what they've done, being as strong and as great as they have been. Tom Brady continuing to win, Bill Belichick continuing to do Bill Belichick types of things. So you talk about irony. That is certainly a large dose of it, because the Patriots have been that organization. Easy to hate teams when they are so successful consistently over and over again. But because of what happened and some of the things that were directed towards Vikings fans that got out there on social media, wouldn't be surprised to see there's probably not a lot of Eagles fans in the Twin Cities right now.
We should mention, though, Carson Wentz, even though he's not playing in the game, has a chance to be a part of the Super Bowl festivities, be a part of at least the game itself, has a chance to get his first ring, and frankly would be responsible for a big reason why Philadelphia got the opportunity. So that's pretty cool, too. Yeah. Greg Menard, though, Bison defensive end, huge Patriots fan. Ooh. So it have a little bit of dissension there among the Bison folks.
I saw Greg tweeted that it would have been awesome to see a Wentz-Brady Super Bowl, which he's right, because if Carson stays healthy, he's the MVP of the NFL, facing the greatest quarterback of all time in Minneapolis in Carson's old stomping grounds.
And only about a 17-year age difference between the two.
Only about, yeah.
Let's quickly get into hoops for basketball. North Dakota State on the men's side, a part of really a jumbled up mess, 3 through 8 right now in the Summit League, but a lot of basketball to play. But that being said, Jeff, we're at the midway point after Saturday. It's hard to believe we're at that point.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster January, Brian, and you've seen it, and I know Bison fans out there have seen it as well for David Richmond and for this basketball team. It's not because of lack of effort or heart or want to. I think you have a combination of 6 newcomers with 2 very, very good seniors, Paul Miller and A.J. Jacobson, and it's been up and down. It's been a roller coaster, and unfortunately, the inconsistencies have stayed with this basketball team. There's a big opportunity here at the end of this week for NDSU at home facing Omaha and Western Illinois, 2 teams perceived to be towards, I guess, the bottom of the pack in the Summit League. But I don't think there's a whole lot separating 3 through 8 in this conference on the men's side here this season. I think it's South Dakota State at 1 because Mike Dom's an unbelievable player. I think David Jenkins Jr. has emerged as the top newcomer in the league. And Reed Tellinghusen, I think, has had a fantastic senior year as well. He's playing with a high level of urgency in his final year. I think USD's at 2. I think Matt Moody's one of the best players in the league. And the way Craig Smith has them playing defense with physicality, they've really stepped up after the injury to Carlton Hurst. I think there were a lot of question marks about how that team would respond because Hurst is their leader and their defensive stopper. They've done a nice job. They've been able to keep it going. They lost to the Bison, of course, in Vermillion at home, but they've continued to kind of stay on that track. And I think after that, everybody has a lot of questions. And I think everybody is capable of beating the other. And we've seen NDSU go into Vermillion, as we said, and win at USD. So I don't think anybody is bulletproof. I think the team that maybe has the best chance is South Dakota State because of how they're made and because of Mike Dom. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of questions yet to be answered, and it should be a fun second half of the season.
Yeah, Jack's Yotes in Vermilion on Wednesday night. Boy, there's some fun matchups coming up in the Summit League, and we're only about a month and a half away, not even, until the Summit League tournament, which you can catch completely on Midco Sports Network as well. Jeff, thank you as always for the time, my man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you down the road.
Sounds good.
All right, Kelly, that's water cooler talk from here in West Fargo. Back to you.
All right, thanks, guys. Remember, you can catch the Bison Basketball Show with Brian Shawn every Wednesday at 5:30 right here on Midco Sports Network. Next, take your pick. Which trick shot will survive and advance? It's Trick Shot Tuesday when we come back.